it's over. After a long, enduring CONCACAF World Cup qualifying journey that the U.S. has embarked, they're able to get out of it, of qualifying for the World Cup for the first time since 2014. And if there's one thing that we learned from this long, enduring CONCACAF World Cup qualifying journey that the U.S. are being in, which could be the last time that we could see this happen for a while now, because, this is the last time the U.S. will be playing a World Cup qualifying game at the very earliest until 2029, since they're going to be hosting or co-hosting it in 2026, is the fact that every points matter in a World Cup qualifying stage. And, we might not know this back when the U.S. got a 0-0 draw against Mexico down in the Azteca, but that turns out to be the difference between the U.S. Qualifying for the World Cup automatically to them have to go to Qatar to play against New Zealand in that intercontinental playoff, because have the U.S. actually not got a point against Mexico down in the Azteca, and with the result how the U.S. lost 2-0 in this game against Costa Rica would have overtaken the U.S. for that third and final automatic qualifying spot, and that, again, the margin is just so thin in the CONCACAF World Cup qualifying journey. And I'm definitely happy the fact that the U.S. are able to come out of this, of them finally getting some redemption, and that we can now start to not have to always talk about what happened in 2017 and that Cuba moment that will definitely go down as the most embarrassing moment in this national team history. Now, in terms of this game itself, the scoreline I don't think indicates the fact that the U.S. played badly. I mean, I know U.S. fans are going to look at this and say, oh, we look terrible in this. And there was some disappointment coming out of this game too. One of the biggest disappointment for the U.S. coming out of this game, despite qualifying for the World Cup, is the finishing is still not there. Like, this was a game where, their finishing was pretty poor for the most part. They had their fair share of chances. And it was also kind of a combination of Keylor Navas decided that, yeah, he is going to once again do his thing, and he also made a couple of big saves in this game that could have given the U.S. a 1-0 lead before when Costa Rica did get the opener in the second half. Now, in terms of the starting 11 in this game, it looked like Greg Berhalter, there was talk of whether or not if he's going to kind of go for it again and put his strongest team to kind of chase history, because, we know that for the U.S., all they need to do is not lose by 6 goals, and they're going to be qualifying for the World Cup. And knowing the fact that some of these players have been playing in the past 2 games, you wonder would Greg Berhalter maybe rotate a little. But the answer is no. It seems like he pretty much gone with his strongest team. I mean, he did kind of rotate, making 4 changes, but when you look at the names in the starting 11, it's pretty much the strongest team that the U.S. currently have. You got Zach Steffen, DeAndre Yedlin, Walker Zimmerman, Tyler Adams, Anthony Jedi Robinson, Yunus Musa, Ricardo Pepi, Miles Robinson, Tim Way, and Kellen Costa in the starting 11 for this game. Now, in the first half, there was definitely a lot of hype in the Costa Rican crowd, as it was a packed house at the Estadio Nacional, and there was definitely fireworks going off outside the stadium to kind of show the hype. Though, one thing that I've noticed from the Costa Rican team is that it seemed like they kind of decided to trot out their B team in this one. And I don't blame them for deciding to do that, because, knowing the fact that coming into this game, one of the things that hasn't been talked about is that Costa Rica has a lot of players that is currently on yellow card accumulation, and that if one of those 9 players would have got a yellow card, or if any of those 9 players that got a yellow card, they would not be available for that intercontinental playoff match against New Zealand for the right to go to the World Cup in Qatar. So it's unsurprising that they decided to not risk it and only play one out of those 9 players for Costa Rica who is sitting on a yellow card. 18 seconds in, there was a shout for a penalty for Costa Rica that was not given. The first shot of the game came in the 2nd minute as Pepe looping shot goes straight to Navas. Miles Robinson then hits one straight to Navas. Miles Robinson, I thought he had a lot of chances in this game, more than I would have thought for the defender of his style. But, I thought it was a promising start early for the U.S. in the first 5 minutes. Navas was able to deny Miles Robinson again, this time on the volley from 11 yards out. Chacon then had Costa Rica first real opportunity, but his shot just goes high before Navas was able to deny Pepe in the front post. The shots were 4-1 in favor of the U.S. through the first 15 minutes. So the U.S. were kind of dominating early in this one. Miles Robinson then had another header that goes high in the 22nd minute. Though I thought Costa Rica, after kind of a slow start into this game, they started to control the possession, and the U.S. were looking to just trying to jog back and counter here. Navas was able to tip and Anthony Jedi's Robinson shot over it. This was actually an Olympico. I think Robinson was trying to go at, though actually I don't think he was actually intended to go for Olympico, but the way that he kind of hit that one, if Navas didn't tip that one over, that was going into the back of the net. A lot of corners for the U.S., but not much has really troubled Navas in goal. I mean, that last chance that I talked about, that was really maybe the most threatening one coming from a set piece, and it wasn't even a shot attempt from Miles Robinson there. But besides the first 5 minutes, I also thought the U.S. kind of started to look a little bit lackluster on the attack and can't break down this Costa Rican defense when they have possession. And this is not a big surprise. Costa Rica, at least doing this incredible second half resurgence that they had in this World Cup qualifying journey, they are probably the toughest team to break down. And it was no surprise that the U.S. was having a lot of trouble in terms of finding some gap to break down this Costa Rican defense, especially when they have possession. But yeah, we head to halftime scoreless between both of these teams, and in the second half, the U.S. had another opportunity to get the opening goal when Navas was able to deny Miles Robinson on the header. Again, this one coming for a corner, and Robinson did meet this one well, but Navas was able to push that one away. Though 2 minutes later, Costa Rica would take the lead, and it's Vargas scoring from Aguilera to give Costa Rica a 1-0 lead in this one, and I thought this was a rare moment where Zimmerman lost an aerial duel. I mean, talk about how good Walker Zimmerman has been in this World Cup qualifying time for the U.S., and especially in these last couple of games. I thought in this game, this was probably one of his worst one, because, he also kind of made a mistake in terms of giving the second goal for Costa Rica, which I'll talk about in just a bit. But here, he just lost the aerial duel. I mean, for a guy that is just so good in terms of defending corner and didn't even lose a single aerial duel against Panama in the last game. This was kind of very, very unlike Walker Zimmerman there. But that being said, that corner delivery was very good from Costa Rica. And yeah, despite the fact that I thought the U.S. at that point was still the better team, it only takes one. Like we've seen this before, where when you don't put away your chances, especially when you're playing on the road, it's going to come back to haunt you, and that moment did come back to haunt the U.S., and Costa Rica was up 1-0 in that point. Though the U.S. trying to equalize immediately, but Navas was able to deny Musa, and then on the follow-up, Jedi Robinson blazed that one over the bar. And then 4 minutes later, Costa Rica would get a second goal, and it's Contreras scoring from Benete to give Costa Rica a 2-0 lead. Everything leading up to that goal for Costa Rica was absolutely disastrous from the U.S. I mean, from Zach Steffen basically once again having trouble punching the ball out. I mean, after this game, I think there is definitely a strong discussion that Zach Steffen might not be the number one for the U.S., especially heading to the World Cup in November. But then, after when the ball was recycled there, I mean, there was 3 Costa Rican players in the back post just completely left unmarked. I have no idea how that, of course, happened. And what also makes it worse is that, I talk about Zimmerman not having a good game. He was kind of also part at fault at this, because he basically let all those 3 Costa Rica players on side. And in some way, I know he did kind of fell to the ground a little bit, but he took a while for him to get himself up. And when you decide to do that, yeah, you're basically leading a couple of players on side if they are in a dangerous area. And yeah, overall, it was just disastrous defending for the U.S. Probably one of the worst goals I've seen the U.S. concede during this World Cup window. But yeah, it was 2-0 in favor of Costa Rica. I immediately wrote, let's not give up a third goal in quick succession, because I think when this second goal went in, I'm pretty sure U.S. fans are started to be very nervous again. I mean, I know they still have a free goal cushion in terms of this game, but they've seen the story before, and especially, once Costa Rica can get going, they can definitely, well, I wouldn't say they can be lethal, but because, they haven't really been scoring a lot of goals in this CONCACAF World Cup qualifying stage. But one thing we know is that, if you do give them belief, they are going to believe that they can come back from this deficit. But I will say that the U.S. did kind of start to calm down a little bit and started to somewhat took control back into this game and earning a lot of free kick and not giving Costa Rica any possession. Gio Reyna then puts it wide from close range in the 75th minute before Navas, who of course he got subbed out in the last time when the U.S. play against Costa Rica in the first half. Unfortunately, he has to sub out again, and it looks like he might have tweaked his hamstring, or maybe he suffered a knee injury. But yeah, if you're a Costa Rican fan, you are definitely holding on to your breath and hope that he's going to be okay in the future, because obviously I know that Intercontinental playoff is not going to start until June for Costa Rica, but to lose Keylor Navas in goal, oh boy, that is going to be a huge blow for this team. So Avriado had to step in once again, and really as the time winds down, I thought the fatigue was really showing on the U.S. player. I think there was a couple of times that Moadu mentioned that Anthony Robinson was just running on fumes there. Though that being said, as the time also kind of wound down, it seemed like both teams kind of just settled that this is going to be the final scoreline, because Costa Rica doesn't seem like they were pushing the issue, and this also kind of is why it's so good, the fact that the U.S. does have a big cushion, and that another thing that I've said before with that Mexico resort. Also want to say the same thing about that Panama resort too, because imagine in that game against Panama where they didn't win by a big margin like that, and if the U.S. are coming into this game, like, let's say only have like a free goal cushion in terms of the goal difference, oh boy, this last 10 minutes would be probably the most nervy last 10 minutes that that U.S. fans will ever had to endure. But like I said, because of the fact that the goal for Costa Rica to have to overcome 4 more goals to qualify automatically for the World Cup, they kind of realized that it's just not possible, so they just decided to kind of conserve some of the energy. In fact, as the time winds down, I think this is when both Dre Cordado and Moadu kind of finally get a chance to talk about celebration and goal accomplished for the U.S. being back to the World Cup and going to Qatar. I mean, I know there's a lot of U.S. fans but don't want to kind of talk about it until the final whistle is blown, but I think at that point you can safely say that the U.S. were pretty much clear to go to Qatar in a couple of months, and in the end, that is exactly what happened. Because despite the 2-0 loss that the U.S. did against Costa Rica, they're going to be going to Qatar in November and finish 3rd in the CONCACAF World Cup qualifying standing. Shots in this one: 15 shots compared to the 12 that Costa Rica has, 6 shots on goal compared to the 5 that Costa Rica has, 3 shots off target compared to the 4 that the U.S. had, 4 shots on block compared to the 5 that the U.S. had, and possession-wise, 66% possession compared to 34% possession that Costa Rica has had. And yeah, I mean, overall, I'm definitely happy that the U.S. are back to the World Cup. And I know there's also going to be a lot of people will say that after what we saw in this World Cup qualifying stage, where they kind of just barely made it in the end, and that there's definitely still a lot of concern about this team, especially with the finishing of this team not being on point. I think overall, as much as yes, that is definitely a concern, a lot can change as we get prepared for the World Cup in November, because it's still a long way before the World Cup begins in 7.5 months, and a lot can change in terms of injuries, and maybe players could play in better form and fight their position to Qatar. So I think overall, I don't think people should just kind of panic the fact that the U.S. just barely got it to the World Cup, and now it seems like they're not going to make out of the group stage, because I'm pretty sure that's what Doomers are saying now. I mean, I know Doomers are probably making that excuse. Oh, this team, of course, just barely make it to the World Cup. Oh, and the performance we had in the World Cup qualifying is basically a telling story that this team, even making it, they're not going to get out the group stage. I mean, I've said this before, but we've seen before where when teams struggle in the World Cup qualifying window, and I wouldn't say the U.S. kind of struggled throughout this. I mean, even if they just barely got to the World Cup and sneaking in through that 3rd automatic qualifying spot, a lot can change between now and November, and all these performances the U.S. has put and kind of grinding resort. I don't think this is going to be the same as I would see when the U.S. play against or U.S. play in that World Cup against Qatar. But yeah, as of now, it's definitely celebration, and certainly a lot of excitement. The fact that this team is finally back in the World Cup, and also the fact that, you know, I think we can now safely say that we can just forget about what happened in 2017, and that redemption has finally come for this U.S. team to redeem themselves after that disastrous moment that they had in Cuba back in 2017. But either way, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this video, and, you know, let me know in the comments also your prediction in terms of how the U.S. is going to do in the World Cup. I mean, I know it's incredibly early to say that, but I can guarantee that there's going to be people, and especially a lot of media people, when they talk about the U.S. After this game, you know, they'll talk about the incredible accomplishment of them meeting the goal of going back to the World Cup, but also immediately talk about how they're going to do in the World Cup. So yeah, let me know in the comments below, what do you think they're going to do in the World Cup, and that on Friday I of course will do a video reacting to the World Cup draw. I believe the World Cup draw is going to be happening like around 9 in the morning my time, which, yeah, it's not ideal. I have to watch that so early in the morning, but I'll definitely do a reaction video, and I'll also maybe even do a video, well, actually not maybe, but I am going to do a video tomorrow looking back at the US and this long enduring World Cup qualifying journey that they've been on, talk about some of the highs and some of the low point, and how we got to this stage where the US are back in the World Cup. But until then, hope you guys enjoy this video, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.